and a hearty, how are you? I'm fine. Why? I gotta tell you this. Right now, Tri-City Sports Now is changing the attitudes of calendars. You heard me. Changing the attitude of calendars. Because, let's face it, before, Monday was what? What was Monday? Just another manic Monday. Oh, okay. So you had that. I do not sing like Susanna Hoffs, no. But now, thanks to moi, Marky Billson, host of Tri-City Sports Now, your voice of choice for a new generation of Tri-City sports fans with the hardest-hitting opinions and the best guests in the market, and also some pretty fair-to-middling prizes. Well, then you know what? You are now saying, I can't wait until Monday. Monday, yes! Yes, get me back on the chain gang, and then I will listen to the brilliant one comment about sports, as well as talk to some pretty good named guests. 12:30 today, not 1 o'clock, but rather 12:30. I'm talking to Jerry Monkowski, Jerry of NBCSports.com. Exciting race at Pocono. Exciting race at Pocono. And a gas mileage race. I want to ask him, though. I drove a Hyundai a week ago or something, running it at the place, and it had to the precise mile how many miles were left in the gas tank. How come you can't do that in NASCAR? Now, I realize that there's probably more in NASCAR. It's not like, you're on the highway and, let's set it to 70 and then just go, But even then, when you're on a highway, you've got this situation where you've got trucks and all that, and, blocking the roads and all that. Or, here is a traffic update for you. If you are driving from North Carolina, if you are on I-26, or you're thinking about going to Johnson City from Irwin, Tennessee, or Flag Pond, or one of those metropolises, beware of I-26. I was on the road just a few minutes ago. Basically, traffic is stopped up going to Johnson City from Irwin. There was some sort of a tractor-trailer incident, a bunch of police cars, fire truck 2, and so you're not going to be able to get to exit 32. That's the Unicoi exit. So this is what I would advise you to do. If you are on 26 going to Johnson City, get off exit 36, go down Main Street, and keep going into Johnson City that way. Or, on the old, that's Roan Street, but it used to actually be, a U.S. highway before the interstate was built. The old 1923, actually it's 23, the old U.S. 23. So the frontage road, if you will, now, that goes from Irwin to Johnson City, South Johnson City becomes Roan Street, etc., etc. So you're going to want to do that. Avoid I-26 if you are going from Irwin or anywhere really past exit 34. What? You just passed exit 36 and you don't know what to do? Get off exit 34 where the Walmart is, and it's a bit of a maze of streets, but you can figure it out if you get off the exit, turn right, then left. Now you're going to Irwin, you're going to North Carolina, no sweat, no sweat. Unless you get behind 2 tractor trailers who decide that they want to basically, live out the C.W. McCall fantasy and drive side by side for 5 miles, that sort of thing, which is, okay. So anyway, again, this is what I always hate about big city traffic reports. They'll say, I-26 backed up in exit 32, there's an incident. Fine. Where do I go? What does that mean? You're giving me half the story. Phillies 9. What happened to the other team? Oh, Braves 4. But we don't tell you ever Braves 4. All you get is Phillies 9. That must be enough to win the, And so, what you get is essentially, now, I am telling you what to do. You're probably driving in Johnson City if you're on I-26, right? All right. Why don't you, like I said, take the interstate. Now, if you're like this novice here and you don't know what to do, you get back on around a couple of gas stations there, the Okolona Road that's exit, 29? And you get back on, there's signs on Rome Street if you want to get back onto the interstate if you're going from, say, Irwin to Kingsport or something like that. But no, it's no big deal here. But again, last I checked, when I was coming in 5 minutes ago, well, now 10, you had around exit 30, no, actually it was 15, officer. It's actually 15. I wasn't driving that fast, okay? No, it was 15. But you had around exit 32 this tractor trailer. It was a car carrier, actually, and it was on the side of the road, and there was a fire truck, and the cars were getting backed up, and you could get to exit 34, and I'm guessing you can, but why don't you get off exit 36 if that's your way, go down the old US 23, Main Street, it becomes Roan Street. You drive through Unicoi, you go past what are the sites there that you say we're giving free advertising? The Amish Cheese's place, all that. And then you get back on, say, exit 29. So you got 7 miles on, a 2-lane to avoid a backup there. So that's what you do. All right, now, a lot of stories going on over the weekend, a lot of baseball, a lot of trades being made, none of them make sense. The New York Mets evidently think they are viable contenders to win the National League pennant. They're 6 out of the wild card and 12 back of the Braves in the division. But, Anyway, yeah, but I will give this credit. The training camps are opening up. And ESPN Plus has made a great move, in my opinion, to try to get subscribers. I've talked about this. Maybe it's just that we're cheap around here. But I don't like ESPN Plus. Maybe I don't make enough money or something. But you get $5 a month, which doesn't sound that much, but you get what? Hey, see our documentaries of 30 for 30. Well, I've seen, the best ones survive in advance, in my opinion. I've seen it before. I could watch it again. I could watch it every day. I don't want to watch it every day. That's not a productive life. And to pay $5 a month so I can have it at the ready, maybe if I really want to watch it again, I'll just get that $5. And then there's a lot of, niche sports that they have out there. Now, they've got the baseball game of the day. But they've got, like, a lot of MLS. They have, did you hear about the Little League softball team from Gray that went to the Southeast Regionals before falling this weekend? Now, you could have watched those games on ESPN Plus. You'd have watched their games. I wasn't aware of that. But you see how niche that is. And even the historic 30 for 30s, the last one they did that I'm aware of, I may have done some more, Nathan's hot dog eating contest. I'll pass. I don't have to watch it. That's not Survive in Advance. That's not I Hate Christian Laettner. A lot of basketball. Of course, it's ESPN. It's not even the one that was criticized a lot when 30 for 30 first came out, that on Rotisserie League Baseball. I read the book before the film, I did that with Moneyball, too. I read the book before you saw the film. There you go. So, read the book, don't wait for the movie. Just like, consumer cataloging from Pueblo, Colorado. There's a dated reference. Anyway, what came out on ESPN Plus, I said, I think I'll buy this now and maybe see what Major League Baseball game of the day comes on. Not that I can't watch 2 of them already on MLB TV, because they give me a free game of the day, and they also give me now the game on YouTube with the dubious broadcast, the dubious talent of the broadcasters on the YouTube broadcast now that Major League Baseball has. Anyway, Peyton's Place isn't just, they've got this show on with Peyton Manning. Peyton's Place. A lot talked about it. I think it's great. It's a history of the league. And now they're focusing on quarterbacks. And they're going to do, 30 episodes of it? Something of this nature. And now they're concentrating on quarterbacks. Good place to start with Peyton Manning. And they talked to Joe Namath. The other good place to start. Probably the most iconic quarterback in football history. I would say so, yes. First QB to throw for 4,000 yards in a season. And I know that over time now, younger generation comes in. And no, I'm too young to have seen Joe Namath play. But I know who Joe Namath is. Okay? I mean, I understand that this is probably the most iconic football player ever. Who else would you say? I mean, I'm talking icons. I'm talking about, to the person that doesn't follow sports, they know who this person is. I once talked to my mom. My mom once said that she knew 6 football players. That's it. One of them was Namath. Maybe she can name more now. I don't know. But, it's the guy that, the person, I should say, guy may still have some gender, alignments to it, but the person who, if they know who Tom Brady is, it's Mr. Gisele Bündchen. If they know who Peyton Manning is, it's because he does a lot of these funny ads. Drew Brees, no, we don't know who that is. You know who Joe Namath is. Bobby Brady lied about he knew him. That sort of thing. Okay. So it's a good place to start. And Peyton Manning is very humorous. That's a rare quality in an athlete. Think of Terry Bradshaw. It's been 36 years since he threw his last pass. Why is he still doing the pregame shows? Because he's funny. Because he's entertaining. That's the reason why. Manning, though, is also a football historian. There's a famous story that he's at Tennessee, and there's an old Vols photo, and he says, oh, look, that's B.D. Feathers. B.D. Feathers, from Bristol, by the way, led the NFL in rushing in 1934. There's also, and you can see this on my Medium page, Marky Billson on Medium, the time 20 years ago that he went to Sammy Baugh's ranch. Baugh was then, I believe, 91. And then just sat down and talked football. At least that's what it appeared was going on in the photograph. But Peyton Manning has always been kind of the Teflon quarterback. I mean, he's not without controversies. And even in Tennessee, and, the allegations of sexual assault, that how many times did you hear around here was, well, he's accused of mooning the trainer. How big of a deal is that? Horseplay, locker room prank, blah, blah, blah. And it has come down that the other side of the story is actually, if you'll forgive me, far more serious. He is putting his genitals on the female trainer's body and all this. So, I mean, it's Axl Rose. Tell me who you're going to believe, And Tennessee media being Tennessee media, and so many of them thinking that they're just extensions of the PR department. They, of course, all he did was moon someone. Well, this was settled out of court, okay? There was the idiot kicker with Mike Vanderjagt. Tell you the truth, I defend him on that. Although I thought that Vanderjagt, at the time, his criticisms were very valid, because when he made the comments in 2002, 2003 about, I think it was 2003 early, about Manning not being intense, and that's why the Colts lost their playoff game to the Jets 41-0 and all this. There was a feeling at that time that Manning can't win the big one. And all Vanderjagt was doing was really, saying, well, here it is. Manning takes hold of the situation. Now there's our idiot kicker. Was he drunk? This sort of thing. All right. So that's what, he's reestablishing himself. You got to do that. Maybe it's not that pretty, but I understand it. I'll defend that. The PD allegations before his last game, a lot of people will tell you they're somewhat sketchy, question the source, but he's basically been able to avoid, those are the 3 big criticisms. Basically, he's been able to avoid, bad person of character despite these 3 incidents. I mean, think about this. Think about right now, Eli Manning probably got more flack for allegedly getting a clubhouse attendant fired because of memorabilia situation, who was selling what, the Giants a couple of years ago. It used to be, if you would do an internet search on Eli Manning, the first thing that would show up, you can probably still find this picture, was Eli drunk, holding a bottle of beer, arm around a pretty lady. That used to be, what now? We can talk a lot about why that is. Eli went to New York. Media is going to be more critical there than Indianapolis and Denver, I think, and certainly Knoxville. There's something to be said for that. Maybe if he had just gone to San Diego, he would have avoided that. Something to ponder. But you've got that where, Eli is the one that's often criticized. Peyton is above the criticism, despite the fact that there are, I would say the Vanderjack thing, I think, is, a little bit overplayed. But what was Manning supposed to do there? Say, oh, yes, I do choke in big games. I mean, I'm not sure that would have been the best way to handle it. But now, and Jay Busby of Yahoo, he writes this, that maybe those days are about over now that Manning is back in the public spotlight. What's this? There's actually not been ads with Peyton Manning for a while. I mean, seemed for a while he was endorsing every single product. I mean, I think he was doing some promotional spots for our station, if I'm not mistaken. I once did interview Manning for this station. It's back in the 90s. And he gave me an interview he didn't have to. Anyway, as Jay Busby, Yahoo, has noted now in a recent article that is Everybody Loves Peyton Manning, but for how much longer? And saying, look at how sports figures are now viewed so politically. And what we often hear, Jamel Hill, for instance, wrote in The Atlantic, which is sort of the modern-day Nation in terms of an editorial slant for a publication, but wrote that, championing the idea of sports figures, of sports commentators, of athletes to be political. To tell you the truth, I kind of agree with that. This is America. Now, you do run the risk, if you open your mouth, of being a polarizing figure. And for the most part, Manning is not, he's been the stick-to-sports guy. Or has he? Because if we do a little bit of digging, why, we can see that Peyton Manning played golf with President Trump. Why, we can see that he gave money to Bob Corker in his race against Harold Ford Jr. for the Senate in 2006. Why, Peyton Manning has been to Augusta National more than once, and may even be a member. Now, I know to a lot of people in East Tennessee, so what? And to a lot of people everywhere, so what? Is this not America? I mean, how did this become taboo? But yeah, consider the political climate. I want you to consider Tim Tebow. Think of what a polarizing figure he became. Why? Because he once, on a TV spot, said he was happy to have been born. He also has publicly, talked about abstinence and his faith and all the, That's polarizing. One time that showed that you were, a good old, a man of high moral character. But now it's polarizing. Now, do you not think that if that's polarizing, and by the way, remember how many people, and we're not talking about, Tennessee Volunteer fans or petty or like, yeah, the Gators quarterback is, failing and all this. I mean, that's just pettiness. I think Florida Gators fans, I wonder, do Florida Gators fans really say, yeah, Heath Schuler, bust? I don't think so, because I think they kind of recognize that they have had the upper hand in the rivalry, and so they don't have to look to the failures of Tennessee for their own team's victories. However, let's just look at Tebow. Like I said, he became a polarizing figure, and I've often said that your attitude towards Tim Tebow, towards Colin Kaepernick, towards Michael Sam is not necessarily what you think of their talent, but where your own politics lie. I'll give you this example. the same people who rejoiced at Tebow's relatively short career in the NFL, and long knives were out for Tim Tebow. They're the ones that'll tell you Colin Kaepernick was blackballed. Now, if you don't like Colin Kaepernick, probably like Tim Tebow, and there is a lot of vice versa there. And it depends, really, on your side of the political coin. And I think that it is a sign of the times on how extreme the mainstream can be, that we're now considering, hey, wow, this guy, he played golf with Donald Trump, and that may actually work out to be more criticized than, hey, he may have actually placed his scrotum on a female trainer back in the day. You want to get right down to brass tacks, think about this for a second. You know what I think of this? I think it's one of the reasons why we've always asked, what's next for Peyton Manning? And maybe the reason why he's pretty much stayed out of the public spotlight until now. And it's, a web series, for crying out loud. And, one you got to pay to see, which I guess you have to do with Netflix or cable anyway, but you get the point. It's on YouTube. And the flip side of that, thus being, that the last time we really saw from Peyton Manning were those DirecTV Peyton on Sunday morning commercials back in 2016. Well, then maybe, just maybe, the reason why he stayed out of the public spotlight, and we've asked now for about 4 years what's next for Peyton Manning, is he just doesn't want to hassle.
With All-American Savings at Neighborhood Ford.